Hello, everybody. We are the BGU consulting team, and we are happy to be here with you today and help you meet the challenge of reducing inequality. We will start with a review of the key issues and analysis by Mrs. Moore Peleg, followed by Dolev Shelley that will introduce you some alternatives. Myself, Mr. Olad Berger, will later on be focused on the recommendations and implementation plan. Then Mrs. Shani Vertlib will show you some financial reflections. At the end, myself again will show you some risks and risk mitigation. And now I would like to invite my colleague Mo Pelek.
Thank you, Elad. Today we will deal with the question, how do we reduce global inequality? We will go over four main pillars: background and economic policy, international organization, project around the world, and future forecast. The issue of inequality concerns the world because of the effects it has on the existence and the continuation of the world. Although there are many more inequality influences, we will introduce three main areas for example today. The first one is inequality in health. The second is capital migration, and the third is natural resources. And in the bottom line, we can observe that international inequality leads to inequality in education, in health, in labor, in wages, and in political corruption. And it's a lot of effects and continue to more effects. So the problem of inequality concerns government all over the world. Government has the significant role in setting economic policies that will increase or decrease the inequality in the country. An example for this is the determination of a tax method that produce here three main methods of tax. The connection is clear. A progressive tax allows the states to reduce gaps and take from the rich and give to the poor. And in the bottom line, government have a responsibility to set economic policy that will benefit their citizens. In addition to government, there are many global organizations that will deal the issue of inequality. Their effects on reducing the issue is described in this slide. As we can observe, one of the most influenced organizations is the UN with the score of 3 out of 5. However, all these organizations failed to realize reducing inequality. When we research the reason for this, we realize that much of it happens from the lack of cooperation with countries due to their political motives. So in this presentation, we will deal with overcoming the political challenge and understanding that everyone has an interest in solving this problem of inequality because it will lead to economic growth all over the world. And although these organizations have not yet reached to their potential, there is a lot of examples of what they are doing today in world angle and in country angle. And as we can see, most of the projects start bottom up, and their impact of change start in the country and affects in the world. So if we do not overcome the barriers and bring the USA closer and bring us closer to reducing inequality, the focus for the next year will lead to enormous social and economic consequences. Those, for example, in the political level, inequality can lead to revolution and wars, and we can see the similar effect in population and economy wise. And if we are wanting to be aware to this challenge, we must do something now. And to present our solution to this challenge and the alternative, I would like to invite Dolev, my colleague.
Thank you, Mo. So as you can see, we found three different alternatives in order to solve the problem. The first one is to found an NGO, Business for Inequality, that will work with companies to promote the change. The second one is to collaborate with the SDG to build a team of experts in different areas to put a body of research program. The third one is to change the text through lobbying in different countries. We decided to look each one of them next to the other and see which one is the better one in all of our parameters, and found that the best one is to open the new NGO, BFI. To show you how to do it and what it means, I would like to invite Elad back.
Thank you very much, Dolev. So the BFI is going to operate in two fields, in the international field and in the national field. What is going to do? Is going to formulating policies and recommendations in both fields to promote practical moves within the business sector and taking action and collaborations with players and other sectors in the arena. This is going to operate in two ways. The largest companies, both in the international field and in the national fields, are going to be as part of this BFI, and they are going to pay yearly memberships, fees, and donations if they're willing to. What is important to focus on is that the international field is accompanying the national fields, each national field and area in the world. So first of all, the most important is formulating policies and recommendations, as we will see in a second. The second one is promoting practical moves within the business sector. What does it mean? It means to make the corporate responsibility more powerful on emphasize two vectors, the diversity and the fair employment. We believe that dealing with those two factors will reduce inequality and increase in revenues, because we see in researches this diversity organizations are increasing in their revenues, and also fair employments make more customers want to buy in new businesses. The third function is taking action and collaboration with players and other sectors in the arena. We have four sectors and arenas that we advise you to be active in. First one is the government sector. We advise you to make the taxation policy, to make a lobby for a tax that contribute to reducing inequality. That's by measuring which businesses do emphasize diversity, fair employment, locally made, and increasing equal opportunities in employee absorption. Another area is the NGOs. In this field, we recommend you to make collaborations. NGOs are dealing with a lot of missing parts in our society, for example, in feeding and taking care of our waters, and to opportunity to learn in academic or to reach jobs. Businesses can operate with NGOs that's working in this kind of field and make special ventures that will contribute both to the people and to the NGOs development, and both to the businesses by achieving their vectors. The last one is the international organizations. As Mo mentioned before, it's very important that this organization will represent the businesses sector in all the international forms and its needs. And the last one is the civilian forces. We believe that the public has much power than ever, and we advise you to make a campaign that will cause a change in public opinion, and then you have a competitive advantage because you make a fair employment and diversity, and it will increase your revenues. Shortly, I will show you the implementation plan. In the first year, you are emphasize for looking for partners and to make your policy. Then in the second year, you emphasize your activity in the business sector. And in the last one, you emphasize the help for other national coalition that you helped to establish, including hiring advisors, lobbyists, market counselors, and project managers to help those national coalition to act. And now I'd like to present Shani Vertlib.
Thank you, Elad. So I bet that the first question pop up to your mind when we presented our plan is, what is the incentive of the companies or the corporations to take part in this organization, BFI? So studies showed us that companies that help the society and the environment have an increase in their demand. So more customers come and take part in your companies. If you look at in the other end, if we look at the customer himself or herself, so we can see that those companies who work under the PRI principles and they have an ESG issues and they have higher yield revenues for the investors. So we will see an increase in the revenues for attracting more customers, more clients. Now, we don't forget that this organization is a non-profit organization. The way that this organization have a budget is through the annual membership. Every member pays $120,000 a year, and as I mentioned, more donation if they want. All the other expenses of the program and the implementation in the companies themselves, in their environments, are taken care by the companies themselves. So we estimated in the first year we will have 10 partners, and then we will have a very fast incline, so that in 2028 we will see 180 members in the organization. Investment cost. So the investment cost of this organization is very low. We talk about office equipment and the building conference room. If we look at the expenses, so first of all, the first expenses are the renting office and the recruiting the team. We will recruit consulting, lobbyists, marketers, and sellers. Of course, the more companies work with us, we will need more employees. So the expenses will go bigger. Another expenses are first of all, as Elad mentioned, we will create a charity for all the companies. So it will take about 2 years and another 3 jurists to help us, to help your company, excuse me. In addition, wait, can you go back? Thank you. In addition, we will have physical conferences twice a year. So now I would like to call back Elad again to talk about the risks and mitigations.
To show you some potential risks, especially the lack of in the economy and difficulties in recruiting the government for the moves. So if that happens, so you may begin with recruitment of medium-sized company and to use your economic power to pursue the governments to operate with you. And the last risk that we advise you to look at is the suspicious on the side of the NGOs, and just clarify the interest of each player has in this program. So thank you very much to everybody. We were the BGU consulting team, and we thank you for listening.